Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am the French ambassador. And I would want to say that it's, for me, it's a great pleasure, but also a great honor to greet you at the French residence. It's a very special moment for all of us, because you may know that we are getting close to the centennial of the First World War. Actually, this week has been declared in France the week of memory. The First World War was a very special conflict for my country. It was an incredible ordeal. We lost 1.4 million of dead out of a population of 40 million, 700,000 crippled. So we are remembering the sacrifice of our soldiers of the First World War, but also, of course, of the Second World War. We are looking to the past, but we are also looking to the future. Commemorating the war, really, it's not only honoring our soldiers, but it's also preparing for the future. What should we do to build an enduring peace? The fact is that during the two world wars, the United States and France, we were together. You know, according to the legend, when the commander of the commander of the US Expeditionary Corps in France in 1917 went to the grave of Lafayette in Paris, he would have said, "Lafayette, here we are." It was a way of reminding everybody that we were already together in Yorktown in October 1781, and we were again together in 1917, the way we will be together and in 1944 on the day on the beaches, on the deadly beaches of Normandy. So we are here to remember the sacrifice, the contribution of our veterans, but we are here also to remember our friendship. More than 230 years of friendship. And to remember that it was in the hell of the battlefield that our centuries-long friendship was transformed into a brotherhood of arms. A brotherhood born of the ordeals we overcame and victories we achieved together. 1917, 1944, but unfortunately, today again, we are side by side, our soldiers shoulder to shoulder. They are waging our difficult battle against radical Islamic terrorism. The quality of the cooperation between our two armies has reached recently unprecedented levels. Operationally, we share responsibility for optimum effectiveness. In the Sahel, in Africa, France is a leader. It knows it can count on American support, whenever necessary, in the crucial areas of intelligence and logistics. In the Levant, France is a team member within the US-led coalition. So, again together, again defending our values, defending democracy. Because the last point that I want to emphasize is that in each battle, we were on the side of democracy, on the side of the human rights, on the side of values. And that's, I guess, the most important tie between our two countries. So let's have in memory that today, tonight, that we are celebrating the activities, the fight, the qualities, the sacrifice of our veterans. And we are expressing our gratitude for what they did for my country. You know, I belong to a generation where I was bred in the memories of German occupation. My parents, my grandparents were all the time referring to the suffering, to the humiliation of the German occupation. So it's obvious that we'll never forget the little guys coming from somewhere in America will risk their life on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. And after that, they risk their life to liberate my country, to liberate Paris and to liberate my country so that we can rebuild a democratic, prosperous France, a democratic, prosperous Europe. 20th century was a century of iron, of blood. 2 world wars, a genocide in Europe. So let's have a look to the future. Let's not consider that peace is granted. Peace is never granted. Peace is something that we build every day. So on Veterans Day, on November the 11th in Paris, 50 heads of state and government, and there will be among them, there will be the President of the United States, will be in Paris, really to remember our soldiers, but also to try to see what we can do together to build peace for the future. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to move to the bestowal of the decoration. For reasons of protocol, I'm really sorry, but I will have to use a few words of French, really, and but it will be, you know, it will be very short. I will say, because I have to translate it, I will say, and you see I have a very good accent in French, contrary to my English. Au nom du Président de la République, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier de l'Ordre de la Légion d'honneur, which means, on behalf of the President of the French Republic, we bestow upon you the insignia of Chevalier, Knight of the Order of the Legion of Honor. Before I present this decoration. This decoration, you may know, has been created by Napoleon and is the highest decoration that we could bestow. And if you allow me, before going to the ceremony, we are going to listen to our 2 national anthems.
Vice Admiral Kevin Donegan promoted cooperation and interoperability between our 2 nations. As commander of U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet, he planned and oversaw the integration of the Charles de Gaulle Korea Battle Group in the fight against Daesh from the Persian Gulf. Moreover, his role in preparations for the deployment of the WWII mission in 2018 should also be highlighted. The deployment of U.S. Marines aboard a French vessel constitutes substantial evidence of the mutual respect and trust between our armed forces. Herald Angles served in the 112th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Brigade of the 28th Division of the U.S. Army. He was wounded in February 1945 in the Battle of the Colmar Pocket as he was leading a scout patrol. He was caught in an ambush from which he miraculously escaped despite being under intense enemy fire. He was awarded the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Ribbon, the Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Purple Heart.
Monsieur Herald Angles, au nom du président de la République et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier de l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Ralph Batts served in the amphibious units that were on the front line during the D-Day landings. As a crew member of a landing craft, he was directly involved in D-Day on June 6, 1944, carrying out more than 30 channel crossings in order to transport troops to their assault positions. He was awarded the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Ribbon, the Good Conduct Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Ralph Batts, au nom du président de la République et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier dans l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Cleland took part in the D-Day landings as a logistics truck driver, coming under intense enemy fire. He landed on Omaha Beach on June 8, 1944. His vehicle became stuck in the sand and he was shelled repeatedly, but managed to complete his mission, a mission that proved key to the success of the D-Day landings. He was awarded the Good Conduct Medal, the ETO Ribbon, the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 5 Bronze Service Stars, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Monsieur Vance Cleland, au nom du président de la République et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier de l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
As a member of the 8th Airborne Division, John Coates took part in Operation Market Garden in September 1944, which proved decisive for the Allied offensive. He served as a combat medic and surgical technician, and distinguished himself both by treating wounded soldiers and in combat. He carried out numerous patrol and rescue missions and was injured when he came under enemy fire. Mr. Coates was awarded the Purple Heart with an oak leaf cluster, the Distinguished Unit Badge, the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with a bronze arrowhead, the American Theater Ribbon, the Parachute Badge, the Combat Medical Badge, the Good Conduct Medal, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Monsieur John Coast, au nom du président de la République et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier dans l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur.
Lawrence Gullick served in the 466th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force. In March 1944, he took part in operations to bomb enemy positions in France. He distinguished himself in the sky over Biarritz, where without oxygen and at an altitude of more than 12,000 feet, he successfully repaired a mechanical bombing system. He then took part in D-Day in June 1944. For his courage, Mr. Gullick received the European African Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, the European Theater Operations with 4 Battle Stars, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Monsieur Laurence Gulick, au nom du président de la République et en vertu des pouvoirs qui m'ont été conférés, nous vous remettons les insignes de chevalier dans l'Ordre national de la Légion d'honneur.
I don't want to end this ceremony without saying how much moved I am personally. I think it's one of the finest moments in my posting in Washington, D.C., to be able to tell you thank you. You were the greatest generation. I know that it's what this country is saying, and thank you on behalf of all the French. You fought for your country, but you fought also for my country. Thank you very much, and as we are in France, champagne.